This is DataFriday, and it's already the 15th episode of this show. I am your host, Jean-Georges JG Perrin, and today we are going to look at a new feature of Spark version 3, which unfortunately I did not cover in the book, and I think it's actually an interesting one. So it's not crucial, but it's a push-down filter on the ingestion of CSV files. So let's have a look at how it works. Okay, so basically, when you are trying to ingest files, so I've got my files. Okay, this is my CSV file. I'm trying to ingest that into Spark. This becomes hopefully a data frame. Okay, and this is then being able to go through various transformations. If I want to work only with something, I can actually filter the ingestion. Okay, so I could already do that. I can specify that at any time on my data frame, except that it's already coming in memory and it's getting all I can start my filtering here. Hey, filter, and that's annoying. Okay, what would be great is to be able to filter here. But there is no way to tell Spark that. So basically, it turns down to Catalyst to, when it's actually doing the work, to make it work like that. So basically, that's where the push-down filter is going to be applied, and that's an interesting concept. And I think we have to look a little bit about how it actually works. Okay, so for this example, I use a data set from Kaggle. You can see here. So it's a video game sales. It's a 2016 data set, so it's not really up to date data, but you find stuff to work with. Okay, so you've got here rank, name, platform, years, column, genre as a publisher, and sales data. Okay. And we're going to work mainly with the platform column. Okay, if I open this data once I'm downloaded it, it's always good to have a look at the data, which is very similar when you open it in Excel, or in this case numbers. You see here that I've got the same thing: rank, name, platform, year, genre, publisher, etc., etc. Okay, so very it's a reasonable sized data set. If we look, there is something like 166,000 columns roughly, rows, sorry, 166,000 records. Yeah, is that correct, or am I making that up? No, 16,000. Am I? That's a bad thing about doing things on Friday morning, right? It's a little small, so we might have to do something a little bit about it to make it, slightly bigger data. Okay, so what do I want to look at? I want to look at the result of the explained plan. Okay, and that's the outcome I'm looking at, to see if there is a benefit. Of course, I'd like to see if there is a benefit in terms of performance as well. But what I'm really interested in is to see how Spark is actually working with that part. So without further ado, let's look at a very basic example. So if you have the book, or if you look at the example in the book, there is a very basic example of a complex CSV to ingest. Okay, so let me run this one. That's lab 200 from sorry, that's lab 200 from chapter 7, and we're not yet at chapter 7 in DataFridays, but that's just to give you an example. Okay, so running it. It's a basic CSV example with some complex features in it, but nothing rocket science. Okay, so you can see here I'm using Spark 3.0. Okay, see, a very basic example. If we look at the code, open a Spark session, displays a Spark version here. There's a few options because I twisted a little bit the books.csv here, and basically display the first 7 records of the book and the schema as well. Okay, so I've slightly modified this example to, after the load here, I just added filter. Okay, that is not a new feature of Spark 3. What is Spark 3 doing is going to be different, and we'll look at that. Okay, so here, if I'm running this example now, sorry, this one. Okay, so same thing, starting Spark. Yeah, that's where having a little bit of coffee or tea is always good. Okay, so now you see that I filtered directly on offer ID to 1. Okay, so, and that's great. That's exactly what we wanted. No problemo there. Okay, so now if I switch back to my bigger example, let me show you what I wanted to do there. Okay, so I'm going to do a similar thing on the video game dataset. The dataset itself, you don't have to download it. It's directly in the data directory. But the first thing I have done is call this bulb-big CSV file. Okay, and you know, it's lab, so it's not really production code. But basically, what this application, this first function does is it first starts a session. Then it reads the CSV file, then what it's unioning it over it, okay, and to create a larger record, a larger file, and then after that it's coalescing it to get only one partition and saving it in a temporary file, in a temporary directory. Okay, so it's a rather long, it's a bit of a long. It's a bit of a long operation, so I wanted to not annoy you by running it. So let's just look at the result of it. Okay, so I am here. I am in my TMP/VGA sale. Okay, so if you look at it, where I saved it in TMP VGA sales/CSV. If I look at what I have here, I have a CSV directory. If I go to my CSV directory and I look at my file, okay, you see that it's slightly, it's a bigger file than the original file. And if I do count on this file, you see that now I have something a little bit more substantial in numbers of records. Okay, so I have about 17 million records. So, and let's look at the original one, because this is something that is a bit troubling now. So the original one is in data, and you will have, oops, need a bit of a refresh here, I think. Come on, Eclipse, refresh. Okay, video game sales. Okay, that's the original file. If I just do a property of this one, I think easy shot will give that to me. Copy full path to clipboard. Okay, and if I do that, yep, you see that. Okay, that's the original file. The original file was much smaller. Okay, so that was about 1.3 megabytes. And if I just do a little bit of counting my records. Yep, you're right. You see, I was about 16,000. Okay, so my union was probably kind of exponential anyway. So, but that's I wanted a big file. Okay, so that's one way to get big files, and it's easier than trying to put such a massive file in GitHub, which was probably not going to be that useful anyway. Okay, so we have a big file, and so the next step is now to import it. Okay, so I wanted to play with different options, so that's why you've got this start with an enum with no filter on a filter, but let's just focus on the filters here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I am going to show you the code first, and then we're going to run. I know I usually do the other way, but I'm going to show the code first, and then we're going to run it. Actually, what we are going to do is we're going to start it because it's take a little time. So let me, okay, I just saved it. What I want to do is make sure we have the right version of Spark to play with. So we are first going to start with the previous version, which is 246. Okay, so this is 246. We've got, and let's make sure we clean it. Project clean. Okay, clean. And then I am going to run it, run my Pushdown CSV file, run as Java application. Okay, so it started. The application itself is not very verbose, but it takes a little time. So let's give it some time. While it's running, we'll look at the code. Okay, so sorry about that. Okay, so main. Okay, then I'm going to start. I'm pushing the filter case. Okay, so first thing is I'm going to the just a timing starting here. Filter. I'm creating a Spark session. Okay, so Pushdown CSV filters in the app name. I am going through to explicitly enable the CSV filter pushdown, which here we are in 246, so that doesn't make anything. That's going to be for 3.0, and in 3.0 is actually enabled by default. I'm creating this master this master locally, and I get a create session. Okay, nothing special. And then I'm starting to the ingestion with filter. If I'm looking at the ingestion with filter, it's basically taking a Spark session, and I think this is actually not even used, this thing here. So, you know, we're building together here. It's lab. I was planning on doing something else, but basically here we have the ingestion with filter. It's looking at ingesting. We'll do that later. We're looking at yeah, okay. I don't want it to restart, but what's going on? What's going on here? Okay. Something I should not have done. Okay, let me remove that. Remove that. It's probably easier to just get a switch without a function, but that's how I started. And, okay, clean that, save that, and now run it. Okay. So Where were we? It's ingesting the file. So you see here it's ingestion using 246. Okay, that's an important thing. It's basically, I'm reading the CSV file. It has an header. It infers schema. It has it reads the files that I just exported in /tmp/vgsl/csv, and it filters on the platform equal we. Okay, so I'm only interested in the we games here. Okay, so it's running that, and when it's finished, where it's returning the data frame, and when it's finished, what it does is actually going to explain what it's doing, and then write as a Parquet file the content. And that's then, at this point, we're going to stop measuring the time, stopping the session, and measures the time that is actually being used here. Okay, so very simple stuff. The first step is one, create a big CSV file so we can actually measure something, and that's going to be common for both example. So on 246 and on 300. First thing is ingest large file, apply filter, show, explain, save as Parquet, display time. And that's going kind of the, okay. So here we can start looking at what is happening in the logical plan. Okay, so it's, you see here, it's, you see the filter here. Okay, and when you look at the physical plan, which I actually like better, you first have the CSV being read, okay, and then you've got the filter here where it's not null. That's an implicit rule it has, and it's actually we. Okay, so in this situation, it took 153 seconds. Well, let's say 154 seconds. That was long. And so let's clean that. Now let's try with. I should have kept it, but to show the difference in the explain 3.0. Can go back to the video. I'm going to 3. Okay, so and I am going to clean this project. Oh, that's why it took some time before. Okay, I'm just cleaning chapter 7. Clean. Yeah, that was a troubling thing that just happened. And run it. Come on, baby. Yeah, see, now it's using version 3. So we're doing exactly the same thing. Okay, ingest large file, apply a filter, show the explain, save as Parquet, and display time spent. Okay, so if we look back a little bit at the code while it's running, the code, I didn't change anything of the code, I just switched version. In this situation, of course, using the Spark, you see here, I explicitly put the config there to true, and that's that's by default anyway. So unfortunately, in my example, I have not managed to make it false. And you see that it's also at the session level. So that's where it's interesting to remember that the session that it's going to apply for every CSV you're going to apply. It's more like a Spark 3 feature switch. Okay, so now if I look at what is happening, what do you see? We see that the same thing is roughly happening. Okay, so but you see that the filter here is present in the optimized logical plan as well. And I don't think it was before. And let's wait a little bit longer to see the performance benefits. See here, with the filter, with the pushdown filter here, it's 136 seconds. So we are really at a difference between 154 seconds and 130 seconds. So that's really 18 seconds 18 seconds faster with Spark 3. So, and you can see that you can compare the execution plan before. So I realized that this example today was a little bit of a more complex example. Maybe not as fleshed out as the other examples I'm doing as well, or other labs. But this was to illustrate something that is built in and activate by default in Spark 3. And one of the optimizations they have done for this newer release of Spark. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed it, and well, let's talk more about all that, and meet next Friday. Okay, and you can see that all this has been added to the Spark in Action repo, chapter 7, where we talk about ingestion from file. And so you'll find all the examples there. Okay. If you look at the new options that is also coming from with Spark version 3, you see here that I can call the explain method as well with an argument called formatted. Okay, here, so a df.explain formatted, and if I do that before before it's doing anything, you see that it displays a physical plan. Okay, and here I think it's a bit clearer to understand what's going on. You see the project, filter, and scan CSV operation, and here in this scenario you see that the step 1 where the scan CSV is performed, well, you see that the pushed filters, okay, so is not null, the implicit one and the explicit one equal to platform we are being pushed down, and you'll see it directly there. So that's where you see clearly the benefit of the ingestion at this part, and then the rest is exactly the same, and you see the condition there, and you see the output and input as well. Okay, so that explains a little bit better what's going on when you're talking push down filter with Apache Spark 3. Until then, have a great week. And let's meet next Friday. Bye now.